But
yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Well, listen, everybody, this is a special edition of What the World Needs podcast. I usually do this on Instagram or Facebook, and today we're doing it on Zoom. So we got a whole nother setup I'm excited about. And listen, for everybody who doesn't know, this is the good brother Andre Ingram. He's coming on today to talk about holding on to dreams. It's a topic I picked. Now, originally I picked determination is the first topic. But for some reason, I pivoted because something in my spirit, man, as I looked at your stories, I watched videos, I was like, man, this reminds me of something much more deeper. And so I picked a biblical story, a biblical narrative about Joseph in the Bible. And I think it will really bless everybody who watches today. So, Andre, man, I thank you, man, for coming on. I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Anytime I can spread what I can to help people do what I've done, I love it.
Yeah. So, listen, I'm going to give you a little mini intro. And go into some more purpose about the show. So, again, today I thought I would parallel Andre's story with Joseph. And there are some similarities, right, in the journey. Joseph got a dream when he was 17. And then he didn't see the full manifestation of that dream until he was like 30 years old. So in between that time, he was trying to figure out some things, and it might have felt like as if these things would not happen. And so, man, when I saw your story, I said, this is the epitome of what Joseph probably went through in those same moments. Now, the context is totally different, right? He was dealing with some other things, betrayal from his brothers, being sold into slavery, all types of stuff. But man, I thought it paralleled you so well. So I'm looking forward, one, to examining your story through that lens. And then the second part, man, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a little mini intro. So for those who don't know, again, this is Andre Ingram. He hails from Richmond, Virginia. I actually met him there.
Yes, sir.
He went to American University. He became America's second ever NBA player when he played with the Los Angeles Lakers. He also sits 5th on Americans' career scoring list with 1,655 points and is among AU's top all-time three-point shooters. So I know you got a J, man. He was the Patriot League Rookie of the Year in 2004. He is currently a member, right, you correct me on this, of the South Bay Lakers, the NBA
That's
G League
perfect.
team.
That's exactly right.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got Andre.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, man, we're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker. And what I would like to do, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, kind of quick hitters. Don't got to give long-winded answers. But to keep it in line with who you are, the first question I'm going to ask, and I think a lot of people want to know this, give me your top 5, because this is a big thing right now, after the last dance and everything. Give me your top 5 NBA players of all time.
Oh, man. Okay. This is tough. We already know the first 2. I mean, it's the 2 that everybody say, whatever order, that ain't for me to say, but as well as any of these players. If these are just top 5, no particular order. The top 2, MJ, Bron, enough said. The next 3 is kind of interesting, man, because after those 2, you kind of get to like your personal preferences and, you know, your favorite guys, or because it's a lot of guys that can be interchanging here. Kareem is definitely one, and not that I got to saw or see his full career, but just everything I know about the game, everything I know about him, like he has to be in that 5. I don't know where you put him. Some people put him at 1, some people put him at 5, but Kareem is probably up there for me. Obviously, man, I'm in LA, but I mean, Kobe was he was not only just a great player, man, but my generation especially, like we kind of looked to Kobe. A lot of people took his death hard, man, because of how he went about his business. And no matter what you felt about it, whether you loved him or hate him, I think everybody connected with his like work ethic. Like if you ask anybody, like you knew the work Kobe put in, and you heard stories about that from many guys as, you know, things kind of went forward. You know, since his passing, but Kobe definitely is in there for me. And it's a lot of Lakers in here, man. But I mean, I think we forget about Magic all the time. So like, you know, you know, so Magic, Ron, Kobe, there's a lot of Lakers in there, you know, but I mean, that's just real, man. Those guys to me, you know, they sit up top, man. I mean, that's probably my five. What's that? So I gave you five. MJ, Braun.
Yeah. So MJ, Braun, Kareem,
Kobe, Kareem, Magic.
Kobe,
yeah. However you want to put that. Yeah.
I'm with you. So keeping in line with this conversation, right? One of the things that, this is just a personal level, I take issue with sometimes is how we compare athletes in different generations. Because I think the context is so different. So man, just real quick, how do you feel about the comparison, the talk of who's better, or, you know, what era they played in was better? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know what, man? I was interested. I was listening to, you know, and all the videos are coming out now, but I think Mike Wilbon or something back in 2009, he asked MJ, he was like, you know, how do you feel when people are calling you the GOAT and the greatest and all this? And he's like, well, it's really not fair, man. I didn't get to play these guys in their era. I didn't get to play against these other great players. It's probably disrespectful is what it is. To say I'm better than any of these guys. And me as a fan, man, and trying to play in the league that these guys were in, I find it disrespectful for me to be putting one on top of the other. Like, they doing what I want to do. Like, I ain't about to judge them or say you belong here, you belong there. So when I hear the comparisons, man, I never comment. I'm never into those things. Just like now, you ask me top five, I ain't giving you 1 through 5. I'm just giving you some 5 guys, no order. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there's a level of disrespect in that, you know. And I know how people are. We like sports, we like chopping it up, we like talking about it. But for somebody in it, if somebody know how hard it is to, you know, get to the level where those guys are at. I mean, I got no like disrespect or, you know, to be ranking guys ahead of the other and slighting guys in any way. So I just kind of stay away from that type of stuff, man. As far as like, you know, how I feel about when I see these conversations, you won't hear anything from me.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I was curious because one of the things that I see is that we're in a quarantine, so no sports are happening. But obviously people are pushing for content. Yeah. And it becomes an issue when you start hearing things like, well, whose career was more meaningful? Who are we to be judges?
Exactly.
And that's when it becomes an issue for me. So, that was one, man. Now, deeper question. So this last one, I'm going to have a segue into our questions with this. So this is a quote, interpret it best way you can. A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dream before the rest of the world. So if you want me to read it again, I'm going to read it one more time. Let it sink in.
Read it one more time. But I feel it, though. I feel it. Yeah.
A dreamer, right, is one who can only find his way by moonlight. And his punishment is that he sees the dream before the rest of the world does. So, man, to find out best way you can, what does that mean to you personally? Whatever comes to mind.
Personally, man, immediately what I think of is all the times during my stint from starting in the minor leagues back in 2007, 2008, and how long it took to get there in 2018, the in-between times of like, dude, why are you still playing in this league? What are you still doing in the minor leagues? Like, I mean, you know, the percentage and the chances each year that you stay in this league of making it to your dream place, it's just not going to happen. I think about all the redirects I had, and people did it out of love. It wasn't like they were mad and upset, like, dude, you're wasting your life. They was just like, look, I know you have a dream. I know you want to push towards something. I know you may see something that maybe we don't see, but this is for your own good. Like, you can make a better career, better life for yourself, for your family by going elsewhere, by not necessarily giving up on basketball, but kind of redirecting your dreams elsewhere to play at another professional level in places where you'd be much better off for your family. Overseas was a big talk for me. Some people mentioned coaching during that stint. For me, when the quote meant for me, I really take the last part, like I could see by faith. I'm seeing, like, I know how this ends. Y'all don't see it yet, and I don't know why it ain't happened yet, but I got to keep going. I just do. You know, I was settled in that, you know, and so immediately that brings to mind all the people, and again, it was in love, all the people in love that was just like, hey, man, I know you got ambitions. I know you got dreams. I know you got goals. It's probably been too long now. Probably need to do something else and help your family in another way. And again, they meant it in love, but sometimes you just got to say no, and you got to go in the way that you know you're supposed to.
Man, so listen, I love the way you just broke that down. because I think one of the hardest things for anybody who's aspiring to do something that was born in their heart at a young age, it takes you having to kind of tell yourself after the criticism, after the rejection, or after people have said, look, man, that dream seems a little bit big for you. It's almost like you try to convince people of your vision in a way, and you don't want to do that. And I see that parallel with Joseph, man, just because in the story, he goes and tell his brothers prematurely at 17, like, look, I dreamed that I was going to be ruler over y'all. I was going to be bound down to me.
Sun, moon, and stars bound to me.
And then 13 years goes by before he even sees one form of manifestation. So, man, I'm curious. I want people to kind of meet Joseph through you today, if that makes sense. And so the first question I have for you is, what is it that helps you hold on to that vision or goal of playing in the NBA, right? Even after some years had gone by before it passed or before it came to pass.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it is, you have to stay connected, man. You have to stay connected up top, because here's the thing, like when my story first got out, it was kind of presented as, wait, man, Andre just never say die throughout his whole 10 years in G League. And, he just kept going after it. No doubts, no, none of that at all. And that ain't true. It's just not true. Like, there were times during those 10 years, man, I'm like, look, I'm done with this. I just can't do it anymore. It hasn't happened yet. Probably won't happen. I get built up every year and get knocked down when it don't happen. Like, I just can't keep going like this. But every time I got to that point, because eventually you can feel that way, but eventually you have to make the decision to say, all right, I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to do something different. Every time I got to that decision-making point, and it didn't happen often because you have to have some measure of faith anyway to keep going. So not that it happened like 30 times. I'm talking like 3 or 4 like major times where it's like, man, I have to go in a different direction. Maybe it was 3 years in the first time. Then maybe it was 6 years in the second time, 8 years the next time, 9 years in the next time. Like those choice points, every time I got to that point, man, the Lord just redirected me right back to it. Sometimes it was a quote I heard. Sometimes it was a passage I read. Sometimes it was somebody else's story that I heard at the right time. It was just, however it was, he spoke to me. It speaks to us in different ways. Like, it came in different ways, and I knew it was meant for me. I knew it was directed for me, and it was always at that time when I got to those rough times. I'm not talking about the small bumps in the road that you're going to have along the way to achieving anything. I'm talking about like the big, like, I'm just done. I'm tired. I can't do it no more. Every time I got to that point, something like picked me up. And that's just his timing, man. And I just decided to listen, to be honest with you.
Wow. Man, listen, let me, man, this is another edition of What the World Needs with Andre Ingram. I'm Damon Reynolds. I didn't say that at the beginning, but I'm hosting. And Andre just broke down something so beneficial, right? And part of that journey, we have to understand that there's pitfalls. And so I know you know this, man. In Joseph's story, that in-between time presented to him moments maybe of growth, maybe some setups, right? Or some setbacks that were really setups. I'm curious, what were some of those moments for you where really that setback was a setup?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the biggest one, the biggest turnaround is probably in around my 7th or 8th season. And, at this point, I mean, I'm well known in the D League, and it was the D League at the time. Now it's called the G League, but kind of well known in the league. People know what I do. Know I'm a shooter, very efficient, kind of know what I bring to the table. And it was just happened to be the 7th or 8th year. Like, it's really taken off. I'm shooting excellently. Midway during the season, during NBA All-Star Weekend, our team or our league has an All-Star Weekend as well, where the NBA players do. I broke the three-point contest record for the NBA and the G League. It was like just a crazy year, and it culminated in the finals. We went through the playoffs. We were the last seeded team in the playoffs, but made it all the way to the finals. Beat the number 1 seed. Beat the team after that. Beat the team after that. So we're in the finals, and we make it to our version of a Game 7, because in our league it's 2 out of 3 series in the playoffs. And so we actually lose the first game, come back and win the second game, and so we go to a decisive Game 3, our version of a Game 7. In my mind and my walk of faith, like, I'm living this every day. I'm living it through the basketball court. I can see it, man. I'm like, man, everything coming together. This is the moment. This would be my third, actually, G League finals that I'm a part of. I've lost the first two. I can feel us winning this one as a team. I can feel myself playing well through it. I can see this just being the culmination of, man, we stuck through it. We hung in there, and now it's coming. And, man, it couldn't have been more of the opposite. I had the worst game of my career. Couldn't hit a shot. The one basket I did score was like a offensive rebound, put back, a lucky, kind of tip in. Everything that I do well normally, I did not do well that night. It broke me. And it was really, that was like the most painful part of the whole process. So, short, that took me into probably my darkest place during my playing days in this minor league. And I was like, look, man, I done gave this D-League thing as much time as I can. It just ain't in me no more. That summer, I dedicated myself fully to playing overseas, totally different route. I'm excited about it. I actually get a call to play in Australia. Beautiful country. And you talking about this week, my first experience playing overseas. I never played overseas in my career, had many offers every year since being in the D-League and turned them all down, going for my NBA tunnel vision dream. But after that, man, I just went. I said, they gave me 2 days to pack up and leave. I just went. I was like, look, I'm going to make some money, take care of my family. It's a new chapter. I'm excited about it. I'm ready to go. I get there, and I don't even last 10 days, man. Like, for people of faith, because like people ask me, well, what happened out there, man? It was mental breakdown, mental health. Like mental health, I've had depression and stuff before. There, like my spirit was just not right, man. I could feel it. I knew it. I get there, man. Like I said, I lasted 10 days and I had to come back home. My spirit was just not there. I wasn't supposed to be there. I could feel it. I knew it. The hardest thing I had to do was tell that coach, that GM coach, I have to go home. You're not going to understand why I do. I'm just telling you I need to. And, of course, he's poking and prodding. Well, why do you have to do this? What's wrong? You okay? Just give it some time. Give it a week or so. Coach, I don't belong here. I have to go. And, that went on for about 5-10 more minutes. Yeah, man, one of the lowest parts of my career. Had to come back here. I couldn't even play in the D-League yet because the team I usually play for, their roster was full. I had to wait about 5 months of just no playing at all, just kind of waiting on the team to open up a roster spot for me. But it changed everything for me because as I look back and got to gather my thoughts and settle, how I took that game where everything went down, I took it the complete opposite way of what I should have. And I didn't see any gratefulness in what I'd done throughout my career. So I put everything in the NBA in that season, in that game. I put all my eggs in this basket saying now was the time. God said it wasn't time yet. Just because I thought that just because it was trending that way, it wasn't time yet. And I just had the wrong reaction to it. Took me going all the way across the country to feel that, see that, come back. And now, since that point, even now, today, everything on the court, bad games, worse games, tough games, great games, everything, I count it all as gratefulness, man. Like, that's good. You're not breaking my spirit to that anymore. I'm not going to that place anymore. So I know where I'm supposed to be. I know I'm supposed to be playing in this league. I know I ain't got called up yet. I know it ain't happened yet. I know I'm old. I know it don't seem like things going to happen, but this is the way I've been told. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to just see what the end's going to be. And that's what led me to staying in there until, the call up and night eventually happened, man.
Yeah. So for those even dissecting your story, two things pop out to me, man. One of the things I want people to know in watching this, of course, we're paralleling this to a faith story in the Bible, something that we believe in. But everybody doesn't have to be a Christian to take away from this interview. That's number one. I think there are some great things that Andre is talking about just in his story and his experience that can be taken away for a lot of people. The second thing, man, is that I want to debunk sort of the process question. Our generation, well, particularly, I don't even know what to call it, the millennial generation, for me, maybe, I wouldn't say some people don't like that middle point of the process, right? There's microwave success. We want it tomorrow. It needs to be here today. So, man, for you in your context, right, you say the minor league. But really, I wouldn't even call it that. I think that's the big stage for you. One, because it's continued growth. You're still playing. You're in the big league. So, man, can you talk about the perception of sort of that middle part of the journey? Like what should be the perspective when you're going through those moments that might seem small, but they're really big in context of the journey?
It really is. And the way you look at it, man, is, well, one, if you can find a way from the beginning and coming in to enjoy the process as you're going through it, like that will work wonders for you. That will change everything. If you look at it as, man, this is just some middle ground that I have to be in before I get to my ultimate destination. Like, you can't think of it that way. That's like that's thinking too fast. You don't know how long this process is going to be. Some is going to be quicker than others. This process, man, the one thing is, again, the quicker you learn to enjoy while you're going through it will make things a whole lot better for you. And I know we all determined, like, we ain't trying to hear, like, I want to enjoy this. I want it to be fun. We ain't trying to hear that when we're trying to get to where we're trying to get to. But it makes things go by a lot smoother, make things go through better. That's one thing I would say. But the other thing is exactly like you said, as you going through this process, it's a reason you have to, that when you get to where you're trying to get to, like, you're ready for it. So, like, when I finally got that break, man, and finally got to go to, the big stage, the NBA, like, people ask me, well, what'd you do different? How'd you feel? Like, were you calm? Were you nervous? And of course, like, the night before, like, I'm like extremely nervous. But when I got there and it turned to basketball again, everything was fine. I didn't have to do anything different. Everything I've done in this process, 1 year, second season, third season, fifth season, eighth season, ninth season, 10th season, all these seasons put together, all these lessons learned. The biggest thing you had to do is learn within that process. It wasn't like I was just coming back every year the same, doing the same things every year. I was learning each and every year. I was picking up something else every year, so that when I finally get to where I'm trying to get to, it ain't like I got to do something different. Everything that I've been through done prepared me for this. So one, again, the two main things, man, enjoying that process, but learning in that process, because that's what you need. That's why you probably ain't there yet anyway. It's probably some things you need to learn before you get there. So learn it while you in it, man. Learn it while you in it.
Oh, that's good. Learn it while you in it. So can you name or even just think of as a part of your character, as a testament to who you are, in that time, maybe what are some traits that developed or that you even had to pick up to help you just be ready when the time came?
Yeah.
It can be still basketball too, man.
Yeah. Obviously, when I first started, my first year in the G League to when I got called up, the game is played differently for one. Like, when I first came in here, it was throw the ball into the big man, let him work out. If he gets double teamed, then he'll kick it out. That's when you shoot outside shots to keep the basketball part of this. So I went from that coming in, like, that was the only time you got shots, to now it's a totally different game. Now it's pick and roll, everybody spread out and be ready to shoot, locked and loaded in the corners, things like that, movement, ball movement. There's hardly any post players. So one thing I had to learn was, the transition of the game. I'm thankful for, the G League in that respect, that it kept up with the times of the game. So it was truly like the NBA's minor league. It was doing everything they were doing. So in-game stuff, I had to learn and change and grow like that. And also on a bigger level, just the key things, the key words from my story, the trust, the faith, the perseverance, like that stuff. It ain't just words, man. Like these things are hard to do. Otherwise, everybody would be accomplishing their dreams each and every day. Those things are hard to do. It's hard to hang in there, stay in there when everybody telling you do something different, when everybody's like, man, this is how long you should be in something like this. This is how long you've been in it. You need to do something different. Like, it's just hard, man. It's just hard to keep going. So whatever keeps you going, whatever keeps you ticking to, what you're supposed to be doing, you got to hold on to it. You got to listen to it. No matter how much you get tired of it, no matter how much you get winded mentally, physically, spiritually, you have to keep going, man.
Man, I'm pulling myself. This is coming to me. Being blessed by it as we talk. So now I'm walking us through, I'm kind of trying to take us through kind of a journey in our question. And now let's get to that arrival point. The night when you suit up in a Lakers uniform, I know you met with Magic and Rob prior to that, but being in the locker room and being there that night, I know you talked about it a little bit, but man, just kind of like Joseph, when he got there, it doesn't tell us how he really felt in the Bible, right? He was a different person. He grew, but there was a sense of not only maturity, but also just the feeling of man, I'm here. Now, obviously, you had to forgive and do some other stuff. But he enjoyed that part. It was so. But just talk about what that was like. Once you got there, what were some of the thoughts that went through your mind as a result, man, of just having those years of patience, really?
Yeah, like you said, it was definitely a maturing thing. I know for a fact, had I got there earlier than I did, let's say you get there when you thought you would, like your first couple seasons in the G League, like my mindset would be totally different than what it was that night. And then I probably would have been like, oh man, look what I'm playing with. Look at these lights, look at these fans, look at these people. You know, it would be look at everything else other than what you're supposed to be looking at. When I got there, I knew what it was. It was a game. It was another game. It was, a huge game for me personally. But as I learned, as you keep playing ball, as you keep doing anything, man, like and specifically as it pertains to basketball, sports, period, those big games, those championship games, playoff games, first ever game as a pro, all these, things that heighten the experience or supposedly heighten the pressures of games or whatever. Man, eventually you get out there and you see, man, it's just another game. It's just basketball again. Like I was able to see it is that I was able to be calm in that. It wasn't like, man, this is game 7. This is everything. This is it. There's no coming back from this. Is nothing. It wasn't none of that. It was, let me breathe, let me relax. It's another game. I'm gonna play this. I've been grown in how to do this thing for the last 10 years. Let's just go out there and do it. I would not have came in like that if this was, 8 years, 5 years prior to this. So yeah, like that maturing word very stuck out to me when you said it.
Yeah. So man, I kind of want to give you a chance now, because a lot of times I think when people have done interviews, whatever it may have been, they focus on this part of your story. Yeah. But like LeBron says, man, he has that slogan, more than an athlete. Mm-hmm. And so I want people to get to know you as well on a personal level. So man, just talk about some of the passions and things you're involved in outside of basketball.
Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, just a family, man. And you've already seen I'm a man of faith. Obviously, that is my, number one, and that keeps me, grounded, rooted. Who you see right now, that's where that comes from. But yeah, man, family, man. I got a wife, got 3 kids. They my everything. We're like family people, man. Like we don't go out, we don't do much. I'm like you, like I'm not much of a social media guy. There's no Instagram, there's no Twitter. There's a shared Facebook account with me and my wife. If I ever venture out into the Twitter, Instagram, it's gonna be a shared account with my wife. That's just how we do things. It just is, man. I mean, we are one. We truly are. But yeah, man, I have other interests. Part of this G League and minor league journey was having to, tutor in the off seasons, because obviously you don't make much in the minors. And that's something that hopefully changes, but that's a lot of the reason why people were pushing me and redirecting me to other things. Because I did have a degree in physics, graduated from college. There were other avenues I could have taken and could have kind of set things up better for my family. But at the end of the day, I mean, like this man of faith knew his direction, he was going to stick with it. That's just me right there. It's more than that's how the basketball story is. Basketball just happened to be, just where I've been directed. If it was somewhere else, it would be this man of faith going in that direction as well. I mean, that's all you need to know about me, man. Faith and family. That's all it is. And wherever that faith directs us, right now it's basketball, and it still is for right now. That's going to be.
Yeah, I want people to know. You said physics. And you also tutor math, so a part of that is just knowing, like, man, you're a mathematician.
Hey, I'm a numbers guy, man. Yeah,
listen, I couldn't even do high school physics, so if you do college physics,
I tell you this, man, and I not to talk myself down. I tell people all the time, I majored in physics, I got the degree. Don't mean I was that great at it. I would tell you that. It's just physics tough for everybody, man. I ain't met nobody, even the people who, were in those physics classes in college with me, they didn't like it like that. Nobody is got a grasp on it like that. At least not in my experience. But yeah, man, graduated physics, but I'm more of a numbers guy. The whole physics thing came from actually wanted to major in engineering, but American, the school I went to, didn't offer that. So I'm thinking, so I was like, man, what's the best or most direct route to, getting there, post-basketball career? Looking back, I probably would have majored in mathematics, because that's what I truly tutor in. And yeah, I'd probably be teaching that if I wasn't playing ball.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man, I listen. All of that is all you. I don't venture down the math side. The only thing I would do is count and do finances with my wife. That's all I can make it towards.
Yeah.
But man, so in that story, I'm gonna keep tying this back. So even when we read Joseph, once he got to the point of being ruler and whatever you want to call him, king, governor of Egypt, next to Pharaoh, his family came back. And one of the things was that I claimed was his example and who he was to his family, right? He ends up getting them out of a famine, helping them in the midst of that. So looking at you, man, something I thought about, more than just achieving your dream and getting to that point, that vision that you saw in your heart, explain the value in your family seeing you stick to your goals and stick to your guns sort of in achieving your dreams, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's one thing. You mentioned my family and my girls, like my kids. They're pretty young, but they kind of figure out, or they kind of know what's going on. They're 8 and 7 years old, respectively. So like they kind of know what's going on now. Like you say, I wonder even at times how much they've taken from it. It's not like we openly talk about, hey, you know, Dad, you did so good with this or this, or even my wife. You know, I don't know what they fully take from it, but I know that they see something in what they see from. And again, we don't have any of the social media, but a lot of my family does. We were able to see the reach that my story ended up having on people. And I can't tell you, man, how often, you know, when we travel, obviously we travel a lot, how often it's in an airport, it's in a gas station, it's in the mall, it's in, you know, any and everywhere we go, how much we have someone, at least one person come up to us and say, hey, man, you have no idea what your story did for me. Like, and my family gets to see that. Like, I'm with them as they do it. So they don't do it disrespectfully. They're like, hey, man, I don't want to mess with your family. I just know your story. Did wonders for me. Just wanted you to know that. Like, my family sees that over and over again. My wife sees that. My kids see that. Like, I know it does something for them and to them. And I hope it helps them as much as we've seen, and you know, that it helps other people. So, but my kids especially, I want them to know that. But you know, and I think they kind of get a sense of it. They don't maybe fully understand it yet, but they will. And it's going to be important for them, because whatever it is they're going to try to go into, and we instill this in them already, whether it would happen with me or not. My wife and I, we already instill this in them, like, you know, whatever you want, you can definitely have it. You can certainly have it. Just be directed in where you're trying to go in your dreams. Your dreams and passions come from somewhere. So once you know what that is, we're going to show you how to stick with it and get there.
Man, it's key to hear you say some of the things that you're saying, because I didn't. Now, of course, right? I didn't know you up until that story. Like, nobody really, like, I met you in Richmond at one time, at Black Men's Group. But the thing that I can say that I'm probably sure of and certain of is that your character did not change in the midst of that time. In spite of everything, man, who you are is who you are. It seems like you stayed grounded in that even through that time. You may have grown, but I think at your core, similar to Joseph, man, he went to prison.
Went to prison,
right? And I know you told. And so here's why I keep bringing up Joseph's story for people who will be watching. When I switched the topic, I actually texted Andre. I said, man, I'm feeling the urge to switch. And what'd you say, man?
This is exactly what I said. You text me that on a Tuesday, just the night before. Every Monday night, since this pandemic, man, my family and it was my wife's suggestion. Every Monday we do a little Bible study, man, and we just going right through Genesis. We actually using this Bible app that we have for kids. We're using that as the basis, and it's going through different stories. You text me on Tuesday. The day before, that Monday, we had just went through Joseph's entire story. We just went through it, man, about him being in prison. I'm telling you, the whole nine, from the start of his story, man, from them selling him in the well and, you know, selling them to the Ishmaelite traders and going there, working for Potiphar and going to jail because of Potiphar's wife, then getting out and, you know, next in line to Pharaoh. We went through the whole thing. We went through the whole thing, to his brothers coming back from the famine, to his father and his youngest brother being able to see him. And just, it was just amazing, man. You text me that next day and I was like, yeah, I mean, we going to get this done. This interview has to be done. We need to spread this. And from the first time you text me, from our first meeting in Richmond, man, I said, I definitely remember who you are. I want to be a part of this. Love that you're doing this in this time. People need something, man. People need everything in this time. So yeah, need some encouragement, man.
Seriously, I definitely, man, I concur with that. I think people need what the world needs. Is why I named it that, is because people need exactly stories like yours and wisdom, right, from you. Yeah. And so, man, almost gonna wrap it up here. I got a couple more questions for you. So, man, I saw in one of your interviews you did, you had a shirt on, and this was key for me. It said "Always in Pursuit." I don't know if you saw. Okay, so explain to me what that means when you wore that T-shirt or in general.
Yeah, you know what? My college teammate, I got a college teammate at American. He's a close friend, even business partner of mine now. We do a lot of stuff together. But the crazy thing is, I've been wearing them shirts for years because we knew each other in college. And he started his own, he has a story in himself. He started this own company, financial education for athletes. The way he does it is he would have athletes teach financial education to grade school kids because, you know, middle school, high school, we're not learning how to manage our finances. And, you know, being a sports enthusiast himself, looking at athletes that go broke after making the sums of money, like, you know, really got to him. And so he started a company. He named it Pursuit Sports Group. And his shirt, his little mantra on his shirt said, "Always in pursuit." I said, man, I love that. Like what, that's me. Like, you know, that's me right there, you know. So, the meaning behind it, and I wear them shirts all the time. One, they comfortable, to be honest. They're just comfortable, nice shirts. So that's another reason. But yeah, it means everything, man. I got every color in the book. I got to be honest with you, thought about wearing that shirt during this interview. I ain't know you was going to ask about it at all. But yeah, man, that's just what it is. And it's not just basketball. We're always in pursuit of, you know, whatever's next. Because after basketball is going to be something next that I'm going to be in pursuit of, and that we all are. We all are always in pursuit of something, man. So yeah, that's exactly the shirt I had on when they told me the news, and which you'll probably see me in every other day. So
yeah, man. So the powerful thing in that is that you know, I saw it and I was like, man, there's got to be some meaning behind that. Because I was like, it's a dope shirt. I was like, man, I need that. Because that kind of makes me about I'm always in pursuit too as well. So that resonated with me. But on the flip side, I want to touch on something because even in the midst of breaking down and watching your story, and back in 2017, I was at ESPN right around the time when your story had came out. So some of the content, people working on it, I was in production, and it was cool to see that. One of the things I noticed, though, and this is a critical point, sometimes people say things like, man, like he wasn't supposed to be here, or you know, this wasn't supposed to happen, or you know, it's crazy. This was indescribable. Like I couldn't conceive. And so, man, I'm curious as an athlete, as somebody who's in the game, who played on one of the biggest stages, who's still in the game of NBA. Just talk about, man, what do you think when you hear stuff like that?
Yeah, a couple of things. So one way I think of it is, like this dude, think about it. This dude has no reason being here. So when I look at myself, where do I see myself? And if I told somebody like, this is where I see myself, they would probably say, man, you have no business doing that. You have no business making, like, I take it one or two ways. So that's the first way I see it. Like for somebody saying that, like, man, ain't no way you're supposed to be there. It's amazing. How did this happen? Think that for yourself, man, and whatever you're trying to get to. So think that for yourself, that, you know, what other people see is ain't no way he's supposed to be there, that, yeah, I can be there. So think that for yourself. The other thing is, the other way I look at it is, so for me, being an athlete, being in the G League, or, you know, whatever your NBA is, you know, so, you know, just speaking to the public, whatever your NBA is, other people can feel like, you know, how in the world can this happen for this dude, or how can this happen, how can this be? But you can't feel like that. Like there's no making it to that stage for me if I felt like, man, this is just too big, it ain't gonna happen. Like I can't make it that way. Like you can't make it that way. So when you're in it, whatever you're in, whatever you're pushing towards going to, if you have any of that type of thought frame, like it probably ain't gonna happen, because it takes more than extra to get there. It takes something bigger than yourself to get there, to get to that thing that, you know, that ultimate thing that's been in your spirit, that's been in you for all your life, that you know you've wanted to push towards, that you know you wanted to achieve. Like you have to get to a point where you believe it's going to happen, even when you 8, 9, 10 years in, when you well past the range where it was supposed to happen and it just looks bleak. if you know what's for you, you have to believe that it still is for you and you can get there. If not, man, if you look at it for yourself and say, man, I mean, you know, it's just too big. There ain't no way. Like, it's time to do something else. That type of thought, it just will not happen. So those are two ways I look at it, you know. Just is encouragement in one way. Like, this guy could be saying this about you. Ain't no way he can make it there. Well, this guy did. Like, I can do it too.
So out of that, what is some of the advice or wisdom that you would give the young person, anybody who's looking to achieve their dreams? What would you tell them? Maybe 3 things, or I don't want to limit you. So whatever you have.
No, you good. The most important thing, man, is like your dreams don't come from, you know, not from just anywhere. Here's what I will say. Like, another thing that went out is, you know, when my story came out, it was kind of like, you know, whatever you go after, just stick with it, and make it happen for you. I wouldn't say necessarily whatever. Like it needs to be directed, man. Like if it's a dream, it's something that you wanted in your spirit for a long time, you know that didn't come from anywhere. That's something you go toward. But if it's something like, hey, this guy just did this thing, I'm gonna do this thing, I can do the same thing. Like, and it's just something you see is trying to compare yourself to somebody else or trying to do something that's not for you. Like, I don't recommend you keep knocking at that door. I don't recommend that at all. I recommend you going towards and pushing towards that thing which is for you, that thing which is inside of you. It's something bigger than just, you know what, I think I could do this. I want this. I want that. Like, it ain't about that. I'm all for going for things that you're directed to go towards. And you got to be in touch, man. You got to be in touch with yourself. You got to be in touch with your spirit. Like that's how you do that. Like, them things that's deep down in you, it's the reason they're there. Go after those things. Don't redirect yourself thinking, I can do this thing because it seems easy and I think I can do this. I think I can do that. No, go for that thing that you don't think you can get, but that's in you, that you know you want. You know, go for that. That's my thing in this all, man. It's not just go blindly into anything and to keep knocking at it long enough, it'll open for you. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that are for you are for you. Go get those things.
Yeah. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Ingram is clearly what the world needs. Continued success. We're just thankful. I'm thankful that you came on today. Before I leave any show, I love to just pray over anything, man. So I want to pray for you and your family, and I just want to pray over people who'll see this show. Is that cool?
Thank you, man. Okay. I would love it.
Yeah, no problem. So, God, I first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you just for your presence in the midst. Thank you for using us in this interview. Thank you for the wisdom and the conversation and the topics that were shared in this interview. Now, God, I'm just praying for Andre. I'm praying for his family. I'm just praying for their safety first and foremost. I'm praying for a hedge of protection around he and his family. I'm praying for continued success in all of his pursuits, as well as his family's pursuits. God, we know that this is a crazy time. We're in a pandemic. We're in a space that is unprecedented, where it feels like we've been somewhere that we haven't before. But God, I'm praying that even in this time for Andre, as he still is continuing to pursue and go after things and passions and ideas and just spaces where you've called him to, God, I'm just praying that you would give him great success, give him great wisdom, give him all the provisions and resources that he would need in those spaces. Now, God, I'm just praying for our listeners, the people who will see this interview. God, I understand that everybody is not a Christian. So I'm praying that they would know, even still, that there is so much love and just stories and experiences and ways of thinking to pull from Andre in this interview. And God, I'm just praying for somebody today who is thinking about letting go of their dream. God, I'm praying that Andre will be a testimony, that he will be a testament to somebody to not let go of their dreams, but to hold on to the very thing that they had birthed inside of them at the ages of 5, 6, 7, whatever it may have been. God, I'm just praying that they will hold on to it and know that those pitfalls and that those setbacks are really set-ups for a greater purpose, for a space where they're mature, for a space where they're ready, and for a space where they've met their ultimate preparation and success. God, we thank you. We love you. In the name of Jesus, I pray, amen.
Amen.
Yeah,
amen. Yeah,
amen,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Thank you, brother. Listen, again, this is what the world needs with Andre Ingram. The topic was holding on to dreams. Please, I know a lot of people see this as on a Zoom call. Watch this back. You will be very blessed by it. Anything you want to say before we get out?
Man, just one thing you said in the prayer, and it's one thing I always like to tell people, and it's not a down note. It's going to sound down. It's not a down note, man. one thing that everyone will experience, you said in your prayer, man, there's not, and I tell people all the time when I speak to them, it's not if things go bad, if things go rough, if things go difficult, like when. It is when. It's when things get rough, when things get tough, when things get difficult, when you fail, it's going to be failures, man. Like, and I say it with a smile because I don't want you to be down about it. And I don't want you to be surprised by it. It's when those things happen. Those words I talk about, the faith, the trust, the holding on, the perseverance, they're not just words. That's when they're not just words. When you fail, man, when you get pain, pain hurts. Pain teaches you, pain make you grow. So when those things happen, that's when you got to hold on the most, man. I'm glad you said it in your prayer. Made me think about it to mention it and say that. There's no if, it's just when. But at the end, you gonna win. You just got to hang in there long enough.
Man, you've said something I've been dealing with in my mind a lot of days. Somebody said a quote in some song, man, I'll think about it later, but it was like, God doesn't describe pain without purpose. So in other words, the pain always has a purpose. I just
always has a purpose.
Man, thank you.
Always has perfect. Hey, appreciate you, man. This has been excellent.
Hey, listen, Andre, man, thank you so much, and continue prayers for you and your family, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, Ken.
No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Hey, same to you. Same to you. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
All right, boss.
All right, brother.
All right.